We got Pistol Pete in the house. We got Unit 4. Unit 4 had a 71 Charger. It was orange. It's my favorite color. Pistol Pete says, I've been thinking about the P09C Nocturne. I'd like to have an optic of my P07. Well, you could always send your P07 to Impact Machine and have it milled. You know, since you love your P07, you could just have it milled for whatever you wanted. What's up, Ohio Gear Guy? Hello, DB. Glad y'all are in the house. We got 6 in the house so far and 2 thumbs up. Tonight we're going to have a little bullet bourbon. Hello, Dirt Track. First drink of the evening, that was good. Yeah, it's never a bad thing to have 2 similar guns that take the exact same mags. I mean, they're basically the same gun. Hello, Trigger Bar. Trigger Bar is in the house. He is my very first member. See his little badge? That's pretty cool. Very first member. I appreciate you, Trigger Bar. Hello, Lynn Holt. How are you, buddy? Clyde Cumberland is in the house. I don't know if y'all saw the title of the chat, you know, the next big thing. We'll get into that here in just a minute. My cough has been getting better, so I'm glad about that. Yep, Gimpy. That's me. But, yeah, I did actually go to the orthopedic guy today and talk to him, so I have a quick update. I'm not going to dwell on that or anything like that, but I have had some people ask, you know, have you been back to the doctor, or what have they said, blah, blah, blah. So I went and saw the orthopedic guy today, and we'll get into it in a minute. Grandbaby is really good. She's crying and, you know, always hungry. You know, my daughter's telling me, wow, she loves to eat and, you know, so, but that, I'm like, that's what babies do. Eat, poop, pee, and sleep. That's what they do. And cry when one of those things aren't right. Or sometimes just cry. But, yeah, she's doing really well. Yeah, we are proud grandparents for sure. But we got 15 people in and 6 thumbs up. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate you. Man, that's good. I got to get another drink. We'll just go ahead and jump into it. If anybody jumps in, they could just watch the replay on this. Went to the orthopedic guy today just to have the checkup done. They wanted to do x-rays again, so they did the x-rays. The x-rays are good on my ankle and my knee. So all the bones are healed, but they told me that last time. So, but, you know, I'm feeling the kneecap move around because I don't have an ACL. So, anyway, but he wants me to pretty much graduate off the walkers and get onto the cane. And I've been using the cane around in the house, you know, well, I don't want to say quite a bit, but, you know, going to the bathroom and stuff like that. And I used my grandpa walker, you know, like the old school one, to go to the doctor today, and that's when he told me that. But even when I push it, I'm just kind of squeezing with my fingertips, my thumb and my first finger, and kind of pushing, but I'm walking behind it with a gimpy walk. So that's what I try to do, but I've been using my roller since I got home from the doctor this morning. Been using my cane a lot, and then my roller where I have to walk behind it, so I can't like use my arms, you know. I'm pretty much walking so I could be more consistent. So, but he said, you know, more PT and all that other stuff, and when it's time for the surgery, I could do just the ACL. And he would clean up the meniscus and all that stuff, you know, with whatever he finds in there other than the ACL, or, you know, a potential knee replacement. Or if I'm good enough and it kind of is hanging on, I might decide to not do anything and just live with no ACL, but I can't pivot and stuff like that. But, you know, I just have to know my limits because, you know, I've been down in this, basically in the room for 3 months. And then if I do a knee replacement or ACL or whatever, you know, we're talking another 3 months before I'd even kind of be up and around good. And once I get the freedom and I'm able to walk, I don't know if I want to go backwards. So I don't know. That's just decisions, but I've got a lot of time because I still have the blood clots and stuff like that. But I've got a lot of time. So anyway, that's the update. I don't want to be negative because this is all, we're moving forward. But I've had some people ask for updates, and there they are. What's the piece sitting beside you tonight? It is the Shadow Systems, and it's actually a little higher. It's not right here on the desk. It's at the end of the desk on a little table right there. So it is the Shadow Systems CR920XP in an Armsman holster. Big J needs a custom orange pimp cane. Yeah, I've got a cane. It's actually kind of a cool one. It's an aluminum one, and I didn't want the silver. Didn't want that. So they have a bronze one. It's kind of like a anodized, kind of like a dark copper bronze. I think it's more of a brown, honestly. But it's cool. I didn't get the 4-foot thing, the 4 little leg deal. I just got the kind of the old school one, but it's all aluminum, and it's got kind of like the little curved handle with the pad on it. And I mean, pretty nice cane. Shit, it was cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. I have some carved canes, like some inlays, some really, really nice ones from back in the day. They were all handmade. I used to collect canes, and I never even used a cane, but I always thought they were really cool and kind of pieces of art. My wife put them up in the attic, and she went up there, and all of them are like for little short people, so they wouldn't work for me anyway. But I guess people were shorter back in the day when they made these canes, but yeah, they wouldn't work for me anyway. So, and I have this one extended as tall as it'll go, and it works fine for me. It's the proper height. It's weird how you start checking the measurements of all these gimpy devices because you don't know. But the walkers and the cane, you put your arms down to your side and you want it to come like right to your wrist line. That's how you line everything up with walkers and canes. So I did not know that. But I learn stuff all the time. Yeah, Pistol Pete, I can wait a while for the ACL. That's what I'm saying. I could just not do it at all. It just depends on how much pain or any of that kind of stuff. That's what he said. Once I'm all the swelling, because I still have a lot of knee swelling and some foot swelling. But that is also because of the blood clots, they said. Because, well, actually, he said the knee, when I fell, there's a pocket in there that burst, and I guess it bleeds fluid over into it and fills up, and that's what the swelling is in my knee, and probably in my foot too, but the blood clots too. Dirt Truck saying, so your trigger finger is okay. Well, retest it and waiting to unleash the fury. Yes. This weekend I am going to go out and take one of my trucks and go to an empty parking lot, or big empty parking lot, and of course my wife's going to drive me over there. I'm gonna get in the driver's side and try to drive around and have her say, just kind of spontaneously say, stop or whatever, and I can see how quickly I can hit the brake and the gas and all that stuff. So I'm just going to test kind of, I guess, my reaction time, because I don't want to, start flying down the highway and, if something happens, I want to have a decent reaction time, which I know it's not as fast as it probably was before, but, I just want to do all that before I'm running around in my truck and my other truck. So anyway, stickers on my cane. Yeah, that's what I told my wife. I'm like, she's an artist and she could do like some tricked out camo or something on there for me, or trim out some stickers, like camo stickers or something, and trick it all out. So I don't know, I might have her do that. What dot are you running on the Shadow Systems? I got to order something for mine. On that one, I'm running the EPS carry, and I did not get the multi-reticle because I only use the dot. I do have the EPS carry with the multi-reticle as well, but I just use the single dot on both of them. So, I don't really need the solar panel and all the extra reticles. So I would, if you don't need that, I would say just get the regular plain Jane EPS carry. It is cheaper. Hello, Rich B. How are you? Lake Ozark gal. Let me catch up here. A Barnes, yes, smash that thumbs up button. We got 30 people in here and only 13 thumbs up. Pistol Pete says, I would wait and see how you are, then probably get the ACL. I would hold off on the total replacement unless you feel like you need it. Yeah, on the total replacement, what's really weird, you actually have less recovery time on a knee replacement, and with the knee replacement, you actually get a new ACL. It's included, it's a bionic ACL that's inside there. So I wouldn't have to depend on grafting it from my hamstring or getting a donor ACL. So that's the way they do it. They cut it off the back of your hamstring and then they make you an ACL, or you have to get it from a donor or cadaver. So by doing the knee replacement, it's like a bionic one. So it's less likely to break because after you have an ACL, it could potentially break in the future. And then also, I already have a bad meniscus because I had surgery on it way back. So they already ground it down. And when they go in there, they would have to grind this one down too. And then with my fall, I had an impact where the top of the knee crashed into the bottom of the shin. So there's like a dimple down into the bone. He can still see that in the x-ray. So he's like, you're going to have really, really bad arthritis there. So, and with the new knee replacement, you get like a plate that's put in there to kind of replace it, I guess, or cushion it. So I don't know. You still keep your same MCL and your own nerves and all that other stuff. But like I said, I've got plenty of time to weigh all the options, and I'm going to continue to do so as I get better. And then we'll just see what we decide. Hello, Norwood. How are you, sir? Hope you're doing well. Rodolfo, no, I didn't. I have not had. I just have a torn ACL right now. I have not had any knee replacements or anything yet. Clyde says, go on and get that titanium knee installed. Yeah. Yeah, the crazy thing is if you have a knee replacement, you've got like a brand new knee and ACL, but you still have your older nerves and your older MCL and all that. So it's not like you're just, now you got a bionic leg. That would be cool though. Rich B says, when they did my knee replacement last July, they took my ACL out. Yeah, said I didn't need it. Yeah, because they have one built into your new one. So Trigger Bar says I have a fake hip. Hips are way easier though. Yeah, and I've heard that because we have a good friend of ours that had hers done not too long ago, and she's very happy with it. But what's crazy is the recovery, and I asked him this today, the recovery from a complete knee replacement is way better than an ACL, than having your own ACL done. And I was like, wow, okay, that's something to think about too. So you learn something new every day. Rich B says, my new knee is great. That's awesome, man. Unit 4 says, talk to the guys at Impact Machine about building you a new knee. Yeah, that would be awesome if they could do that. Just mill it out and I could have a red dot right on my knee. Could just throw my knee up. That'd be pretty awesome. Of course, I couldn't see the red dot though, unless I held my leg up high, but I can't do that. Don't have that kind of flexibility. Let's get us another drink. Tonight is Bullet Bourbon. And not the rye stuff. I'm not a huge rye guy, so I always get the orange. I don't get the green. And I've got a buddy of mine, y'all probably know him, Channel Cat Chaser. I used to be the guy that had 60 or 70 bottles of bourbons and whiskeys, and I used to be like that. I had a whole ton of them. But I got tired of having all those bottles and all that shit sitting around. And it was me, and when friends would come over, we would drink it, but you can only drink so much when you have that many bottles. And some of it would get kind of stagnant and start tasting a little funny. And then it was a waste. So I really matured my bourbon and whiskey collection because, Channel Cat Chaser was like, hey man, you need to do whiskey reviews and bourbon reviews. And, I might have sent him pictures back in the day. I can't remember. Because I was doing YouTube then, but not really whiskey or bourbon reviews. And I really condensed down. I gave a lot of bottles away to friends and, gifted a lot of really nice whiskey and bourbon to people because I just couldn't drink it all. you know, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it, but you know, some of it was just tasting funny. So I was like, man, this stuff's going bad, or I thought it was. I don't know if it really was. Might have been in my head, but anyway, so I got it way more mature, and I got or condensed, I should say. So now I really just buy the bourbons and the whiskeys that I really like. I don't just go and buy a whole bunch of shit like I used to back in the day. And it's not that I'm frugal. It's just, you know, it was taking up so much space. I had a big, huge, I don't know what you call those buffet tables kind of things, and it was just full of them on the top, in the middle, the bottom. It was just packed with them. So I condensed it way down. Let's see here. Yeah, Rich B says compared to the fractures, your knee replacement will be a piece of cake. Yeah, I mean, it's been a pain in the ass, as y'all all know. Pistol Pete says, how many of you have dots on your carry guns? Yes, yeah, please let him know, because I would like to know that too. I have dots on pretty much everything now that I constantly shoot and show and enjoy, because my eyes just aren't what they used to be. I mean, I still have guns with just irons, but you know, as my eyes have gotten weaker, um, you know, that's even more reason to appreciate dots for me, especially. Got Dura Diesel. My Ruger has dots. Trigger Bar says I have a buddy who is limping from his replacement 5 years ago. It didn't go well, but my wife's grandma got both knees done at 92 at the same time and is almost 102. That is awesome, man. She said it was her best decision. Yeah, and like I said, when it's time, you know, I probably will even get a second opinion from another surgeon, just, you know, because I want it right. You know, I don't want to regret it, and I don't want to go through some of the hardships that people have had those done. You know, I want to go with the best of the best. Trust me, I've spent a ton of money on this. Whew. I mean, insurance is paid, but I got a yearly bonus, and I've been paying out quite a bit to all these damn doctors. And I mean, I already had surgery on the veins. Y'all remember I had to have the upper blood clots removed. So I had surgery on that too, and it was what, a 5-day stay in the hospital. That was fun. Rich B says, is MagTech and S&B good range ammo? Dirty. Can get a case of 124 close to 200 bones. Um, yeah, that's a good price. I really like S&B. I'm not a huge MagTech fan. I've shot it in the past. I'm just not a huge MagTech fan. I'm not saying it's horrible, but I really do like S&B. I would show you, but I've got stuff laying on the floor. But I have 2,000 rounds, 2 cases of S&B right there on the floor because I haven't been able to put them into ammo cans yet because of my knee. I bought them right before my knee issue. So they're stacked on the floor, kind of in the way. Matter of fact, I don't even want to show it because I've got 2 cases of ammo. I've got a case of 5.56. I've got freaking Shadow 2 mags, like 12 of them, or Shadow 2 compact mags, laying in the floor. I've got 2 ammo bags laying in the floor. Man, my room is a freaking wreck. And when I'm going to redo this whole room. Everything is getting moved. I'm moving safes. I'm doing a lot of revamping this room. I already talked to my wife about different colors she's going to paint it and stuff like that. She's going to trick it out for me. Yeah, S&B, CZ is huge on S&B. I've never had a problem with S&B. What's up, Harry's Holsters? How are you, man? Hope you're doing well. Harry says, past 12 yards. If I'm not shooting very specific irons, my iron game isn't good, but my dot game is solid. Yeah, I've just surpassed I'm past the iron deal. I mean, like I said, prior to the knee deal, I took out an iron gun. I think I did it on video. And I shot it. I could still shoot them. It's just not as fast for me. It's not as fun for me. I have way more peripheral up and down, side to side, um, with the dot, so I can see more if there were multiple people. I can see all of them. Where with irons, I'm more focused on the front sight. So I just don't see a reason for me to freaking shoot irons anymore, honestly. And have them as a backup, fine, but not really into them anymore. Let's see here. No, we're not talking about laser dots. We're talking about dots that go on top of a pistol. Like on rifles, but this is for a pistol. Hello, Ranger 10. How are you? Yeah, I remember Harry. He said that his dad had both of them. Uh, both of his knees replaced. Um, but where I was kind of going with this is where I was kind of going with what the title tonight is. The next big thing. I mean, I get asked this. I'm sure other creators do too. But they're like, "Hey, what do you think about this gun? What do you think about that gun? What do you think about this gun?" And I'm not being rude at all, but especially if it's a striker fire gun and it's not revolutionary. There's no revolving or rotating barrels. There's no this. There's no that. It could, like I've always said, it could be just different lipstick on a pig. Is there a reason to jump out and buy it right then and there? And my answer to that would be no. Um, Especially, if you don't want to be the beta tester, like we all know who I'm talking about, on some of these guns, I really just don't see a reason to do that. Honestly. Now, if it's something that, like, maybe it's a single action gun and you don't have a single action gun, or you don't have a double action single action gun, or something like that, then I could see, a reason saying, hey, yes, I do want to try that. I want to get that. Or if you're trying to level up with two of the same guns, like you have, say, for example, Pistol Pete, was talking about getting the PO7 Nocturne C, the compact. Well, he has a PO7. So there he has mag compatibility. He's got a very similar or exact manual of arms. So, that's double up. I mean, I'm a big proponent as, two is one and one is none. I've got multiples of the same gun, two PO7s, two PO9s, two P10Cs. Um, you know, two 2011 or the same 2011s are basically the same, and other guns, two FNs. So, if you're doing something like that, to have one to practice with, one to beat the hell out of, and then one to carry, I could see that. But, chasing that dragon, because, oh, I'll get this and I'll shoot better. Or, oh, I'll get this and it's going to change my, I'm going to become, the rifleman or something like that by buying this gun or this pistol or whatever. You know, I'm definitely off that. I was never really chasing, y'all know that. I wasn't buying guns for reviews. I said that years and years and years and years ago. And I know a lot of people do that, and I'm not saying that's bad because they're doing it for YouTube if that's what they're into. But I'm saying for personal collection stuff or to keep, I just don't see a reason in doing it. Now, and I'm not arguing or trying to upset anybody that does. I just, like, every time a new gun comes out, hey, are you going to get that? Or, is it going to, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just not doing it. So, but if that's what you want, please go for it. I was just kind of answering a question that I get asked a lot. You know, will you be getting this gun? Will you be getting that gun? Um, and it could be, maybe because I'm getting older and I have a really nice gun collection and I really enjoy guns, I'm going to start getting rid of some guns that are just sitting. I know people are like, don't get rid of guns. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. I'm going to give guns to my son in law too. Guns that I really, I want to pass down now because I know I won't shoot them, but they're valuable, and some of them have been in our family. So I want them to go to my grandkids and stuff. So I am going to be passing those down probably pretty soon because I just won't shoot them anymore. Matter of fact, one of them is a 270 deer rifle uh, that I've taken. The one in my room, y'all have seen it. Billy Jack, that's what I named it. I've got one in the front room that I took with it. I've got the horns in the kitchen on the top shelf. It's called a horn plate. It's not his head, it's just his horns. I think I've taken 4 deer with it. You know, I've had it forever. My dad bought it for me, so I'll never get rid of it. Matter of fact, it's got the small scope, the little guy. But I've taken 4 deer with it, so that'll be passed down. It's a Featherlight 270. I think that's what it's called. But it's a great gun, and I really do like the 270 round. Peep sights on a Mini 14, yeah. I'm definitely a dot guy. Clyde is saying, Big J, do you have and pistols with threaded barrel? Yeah, I have a bunch of pistols with threaded barrel. Some of them have comps screwed on them. I have some with no comps, but a lot of mine have comps on them. But yes, I have a lot of guns with threaded barrels. I really don't shoot suppressors on any pistols except a 22. I think all my 22s, yeah, all my 22s are threaded. Also, my 22 pistols. Oh no, I take that back. One of them's not. I think I've got 4 22 pistols with threaded barrels. But I love 22 cans for pistols, but 9, 45, and stuff. And I've shot a lot of them. They weren't my cans, and they weren't my guns, but I've shot a lot of friends that have those, and they just don't do much for me. I love rifles with suppressors and 22 pistols and 22 rifles with suppressors, but not 9 and 45, and that just doesn't do much for me personally. You know, but to each their own. Rich B says Optic recommendations for CZ Nocturne, also Shadow 2 Compact. I'm a big fan of the Holosun EPS. I really like it. You know, you can get the EPS carry, or you can get the EPS full size. Like both of those guns for the Nocturne and the Shadow 2 Compact, I would both get the EPS carry, or excuse me, the EPS full size for both of those guns. That's what I would get. And they have the exact same pattern, footprint, so one is just wider than the other. But for both of those, I would get the EPS full size because it's fully enclosed. It's a small footprint. So far, I really like mine. I'll probably be buying a full size EPS. I already have 2 of the carries, but I'll probably be getting the full size EPS for another gun. Lynn says, what's a buying spree? Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, Armsman? How are you, man? Hope you're doing well. Let me catch back up here. Sorry. Harry Solster said you picked out a crib gun yet. Granddaughter got to be strapped. Yeah, trust me, she's got any gun she wants when she's older. It will whatever I lay out and she picks, and she can pick a couple of them. They'll all end up hers. And if we have a grandson too, they'll all be theirs. Brian Deshane says I'm still kicking myself for selling the CZ Shadow 2 Compact. Well, you can always grab another one, brother, when you're ready. You know, later on down the road, you can always grab another one. Armsman says, Big J, have you shown the baby how to handle a pew-pew yet? No, I have not. Have not. Did have one. Well, never mind. I was strapped the first night I met her. DB says, I stopped chasing the next big thing. Wait till next week. It'll be a new shiny whiz bang. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like every freaking week. Now you'll notice one manufacturer that used to have, one a month or two a month, they've definitely slowed down. I've been waiting to see some whiz bang thing that they came out with. I think y'all know who I'm talking about, but I haven't seen anything recently from them. Except grief and hate. But a lot of it's well deserved. Let me catch up. Pistol Pete says pretty much all new guns are just man for me. Yeah, I mean, and I get it. And like I said, I know a lot of people love, chasing that dragon and, getting that adrenaline rush and that, dopamine hit. But I don't want to say I'm too old for that because there are things that excite me still. But what I get excited about, honestly, is like pistol lights, like really cool pistol dots. More on the accessory side, honestly. Um, because I see a lot of maybe changes or advancement there, like maybe more candela, more lumens, or something like that. But I just don't kind of see it in pistols as much. And you can find that gem, here and there. Even going back and finding an older gun that you maybe missed out on or that you sold, and you're like, man, why did I ever sell that? And you get the opportunity to buy it again. You know, I mean, that's cool. I understand that. But the modern guns that you can just walk into a gun store and purchase all the time now, I just don't see a reason in chasing that dragon. And also having like 15 freaking ARs of all 5.56. I mean, I get it. I know people love to build and people love to, get different lengths. And I understand the length. I do have multiple lengths of 5.56, 300, stuff like that. But, just to have 12 or 15, 16-inch AR 15 5.56s, that's just not, I don't do that. But I know people who do, and that's cool. DB says I grabbed an OG Beretta APX, probably compact, overrun. Okay. Oh, contract overrun. New in the box, cheap. It's so ugly. I love it. Oh, that's cool, man. I mean, you can get some good deals on stuff, but that's what's really crazy. Some of these brand new guns, especially, like the import guns and the double stack 1911, 2011s, or, I call them 2011s, but they're double stack 1911s, from TSOS and from all these other ones, they'll come out and they'll be $1,000. And if you wait 3 weeks, then they're like $699, which obviously shows me that they do not hold their resale value. So please wait a little bit, save you some money. But also, I mean, either they made a whole bunch of them and imported them and they're just not selling. But I would say definitely right now, it's a buyer's market. It's not really a seller's market, because now you can get some guns, at really great prices if that's what you need. The gray market is intriguing, yeah. Got SIG. SIG is about to drop the newness. Brace yourselves. I know they have something up their sleeve. I'm sure they do, but I'm telling you, they have burned a lot of bridges with people. Gun shows are no longer fun. Yeah. Clyde says, seriously thinking about grabbing a 10 millimeter. Of course, the M&P 10 millimeter 4.6. Didn't realize how much more punch it has over a 45. You have to run plus P plus and 45 to even get that close. I don't really think there's a lot of punch personally, and I've shot 10 millimeter plus P and all that. I mean, I would say, it's got a little more snap, but I don't think it's anything drastic. Now, of course, the smaller the gun, the more noticeable it will be. But, and the heavier the gun, the less noticeable it will be. But I don't notice a huge difference between 10 and 45. Honestly, I don't. I mean, 10 millimeter to me just standard 10 millimeter, kind of seems like a 40 plus P plus or plus P, maybe, just a standard 10 millimeter. But, you know, and 10 millimeter is a great round. I would never discredit it. It's just, I don't need another caliber, honestly. I've had them in the past. Ranger says I thinned out a lot of my old guns. They kept the 2022. That's a life gun from the past, just ammo and mags. Since the weather is getting good here in Indiana, I've been to the range a lot lately. That's awesome. DB says ever since the Hook of Sandy gun shows have gone way south. Yeah, and like I always tell everybody, you know, if you're going to load up on something, mags, ammo if you need it, you know, because if they try to go after something, that's probably, they're going to continue the mag situation. We all know that. Not telling anybody panic buy, don't do that. Just make sure you have enough. DB says the TSOS Night Stalker was around $650. They released a gun, a Gen 2. Now the original is $450. Exactly. That was one of the examples because I had a buddy that was like, oh my God, look at this Night Stalker. You know, when I was going to get it, it was $750 and now it's $450. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you want to grab one, and he doesn't have a 1911 double stack. So I was like, I've shot that gun. It's a cool gun. The grip is really, really slick. And it's super light. That gun is super light, which is not a bad thing. But it's just super light. And also they milled it for the RMSC footprint and a double stack. I always want at least a full size optic. But, you know, you could put the EPS full size on it because it's the same footprint if that's what you wanted to do. Or the EPS carry, you know, and on the gun I shot that I have a video on, it had the EPS carry, has a threaded barrel. I mean, it was a good gun. The trigger's pretty heavy, but you could change that. You could put an ignition kit in it, you know, for a couple $100 and a trigger. If it would take it. I don't know. Some of those parts, you know, they might not be made for. If there's something, if it's a standard 2011 guts, then you could upfit it and still, you know, have a good frame and slide and just change the guts in it. But I mean, it wasn't a bad gun, especially for the price. I mean, hell, for $450, I'd probably buy one. Brian said I had two people give me $10 each and one $3. Was very surprised. The generosity, complete strangers, there's still hope for man. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me catch up here. Sorry if I'm getting behind. Harry's Holster says ammo and surplus mags are the one thing I've never regretted. I wish I had bought FAL mags. Now they're non-existent. Yep. Yeah, you don't want pro mags. Pro mags suck. Rich B says if you buy a 300 Blackout pistol, is a suppressor necessarily recommended? That's kind of what they're designed for. But like I've talked about, I really enjoy supersonic in my 300 for, like, you know, urban environments, if you know where I'm going. But yeah, they're stupid quiet. I've got videos on mine. They're stupid quiet with a suppressor. I mean, it's really quiet. They're fun to shoot. You know, they fall like a freaking rock at distance, though. Matter of fact, even at 50 yards, like you'll aim for the head with a super, and at 50 yards, you'll hit them like below the neck. I even have a video where I'm hitting them in the head, and then it's dropping that much between supers and subs. But I mean, they're super fun. You don't have to have a suppressor. They're going to be loud with, you know, supers, of course. Subs are quieter. I've shot mine non-suppressed and suppressed. It's not a must, you know, and that's something eventually you could get later down the road, or if you're in an area where you can't have suppressors, I would still own one because I love 30 caliber over 5.56, but that's just me. Other people could vary. TSOS has one universal issue. The extractor and most need to be tuned up. And that's what I was saying. If you can get the EGW parts if they'll fit, and I'm sure some of it you have to fit yourself or have a gunsmith fit them. But if it's standard and not proprietary, um, you can use the frame kind of like we've talked about with the Prodigies. And I've had buddies who have done the Prodigies and just bought Prodigies and then changed everything in them and still been cheaper than a Staccato. And actually, they love them and they work great. So, I mean, as long as everything would fit, $450. I mean, you can get the kits and a trigger, the full ignition kits and a trigger for like 350 bucks, something like that. I mean, you're not going to break the bank. And of course, labor if you don't know how to do it yourself. Oh, Harry says, Armsman, I got my HD back. That's the Staccato HD from Staccato today. Had pinching issues with the safety. Kind of wish I hadn't got the gun. Not sure where Staccato is going to go considering all the issues. I don't know, but that's another thing that's kind of, Armsman and Harry and I were talking about that the other day. Man, the HD's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. There was video after video after video, and now it's just like, you don't hear anything about it anymore. I'm not saying it's going away, but if they're going after the LE market and like contracts and stuff, and that price is really high for a lot of those departments. So I don't know. I know they would get a discount on it and they would work them a deal if they bought a whole bunch of them, but I don't know. I kind of think they missed the boat on that. I'm not saying it was, bad to do that. But, that's another one that I pretty much almost out of the box was like, I just don't see a reason. At first I was like, oh man, a new Staccato. But the more and more I thought about it, I was just like, if I want to shoot a Glock, I'm going to shoot a Glock. If I want to shoot a 1911 or 2011, I've got those already. So with the 70 triggers instead of the 80s. And I'm not saying it's a huge, 70 series is a better trigger, but I'm sure that one's pretty close, or I've heard it is. Rich B says, ever hear how 1776 meeting with the judge went? No, I have not. I texted him and asked him if he was in jail and never heard back. So I don't know if I made him mad. I'm sure I didn't. But, he's probably just been really busy with his son because he's got that lacrosse deal going. So that could have been why, but I haven't heard yet. So. Harry's is saying their work improved the pinching, but didn't get rid of it completely. So I knew they were planning on expanding the line with the Metgar mags. Not sure if it's still in the works. Brian says, wish Holosun would release an optic with 2 dots for subs and supers. SIG so far. SIG's far too high for theirs, yeah. And I'm sure they will eventually. And that is the good thing about some of the optics, such as, and I've got experience with it because I own it, and I know Harry does too, but, like you can get the Huey, or we call it the Huey, but it's the Vortex Huey Gen 2 and Gen 1. But you've got the reticle, the little donut of death. So you've got your dot, and then at the bottom of it, you've got a triangle. So you can set it up for your dot, to be center punching with supers, and you can get a pretty good judgment with the lower triangle for your subs. Is it perfect? No, but it would definitely be fairly accurate. So, you do, I'm saying at fairly close engagements, not, 150 yards, but if you're shooting supers at 150 yards, I mean, you're literally lobbing those suckers through the air. So, and yes, it can be done. I'm just being sarcastic, but, that's not what it's intended for me. So there are reticles that give you those. It's just, you got to know how to use them or be familiar with them. AMG, yeah, that's it. We just call it the Huey. But yeah, it is the AMG Gen 2. So you're correct. And I've got that with a riser, a Unity riser on one of my 300 Blackouts. And I really like it. I mean, for the price and an American made optic, because everything on it is American made except the reticle itself. That's from the UK. And I think it's a great optic. Now, it is holographic, so you're going to chew up some batteries versus a regular red dot, but I like it. I personally, this is just me, I like it better than the EOTech. And that's just me. You know, holographics aren't perfect for my eyes. Of course, they're fuzzy, but, you know, I know what they're intended for. You don't stare at the reticle. Pistol Pete says, my M&P with the Apex trigger is as close as I'm getting to a 2011. I mean, that's a great trigger. Smith & Wesson with the Apex trigger is fantastic. I mean, I'm telling you what, if you want to change your M&P, put a freaking Apex trigger in it. And that's the same with the FN. You know, my FN 509 Apex trigger, whew, money. I had it in my FNS and my 509. It's great. Harry's Holster says, my biggest issue with 300 Blackout is zeros with different ammo. I've had 150 grain supers shoot 8 inches different than 110s at 25. With 5.56, 55 grain, 77 grain, with everything in between, it's within 2 inches. And he's exactly right. You will have a lot of variations. But also when you're looking at the difference between, you know, 55 to 77 grain, you know, you're basically talking, you know, a 22 caliber versus a 30 caliber too. So, you know, one is a pin going through the air or a needle, and the other one's a freaking brick. But I get it. But it can for sure. You know, you can have a lot of variations. That's why, you know, I'll say it again. That's why I'm a huge proponent of supers if you're intending on doing something lethal or damage and for distance. If you know you're just going to be shooting up close, 100 yards and in, then that can just be your sub gun, you know. But I really, really enjoy supers out of my 300 Blackout. But that's just a me thing. Most people be like, no, it's made for subs only. And I've had people tell me that. It's a sub gun only. You're doing the wrong thing. Well, y'all know me. I do what I want to do, but... Pistol Pete says we need to get Big J to the range. Yes, that's why I'm going to go test my driving skills this weekend in an empty parking lot and see, because for one, I want to start going and seeing customers. And for another, I want to go to the range. And I mean, my wife would take me. I just don't want her just sitting there, and she would go shoot with me. Also, but you know, if I go on a Saturday or something, it's usually pretty busy and loud, and you know, I'll want to shoot like bigger caliber things. And she, you know, she'll shoot it, and she, you know, doesn't mind it, but that's not her favorite. And I really want her to shoot the 5.7 and see what she thinks about it. She still hasn't shot it. Brian says, anyone else watching the series The Pit? Usually don't care for hospital type series. I have not seen it, but I've heard about it. I've heard it's really good. Yeah, and I wanted to ask y'all this. Has anybody seen, I just saw it today, has anybody seen the new Glock Gen 5 Apex trigger? Apex has a new it's a specific trigger for the Gen 5, and it's like a Gen 2 trigger for the Gen 5. It's wider. I didn't know if anybody had seen that, but I saw Apex on X. They had it in a post, and I'm like, what the heck? I haven't seen it, but it's got like some little milling on the side. Has anybody seen that or tried that? I'm just curious about it. But I'm like, damn, I don't want that for my 19X. And I do have the Freedom trigger. It's the American flag, but it's the black version, and it's red, white, and blue. Or, excuse me, it's black, but it's got the white stripes and the white stars. So I do like that Freedom Edition trigger because I don't think they make them anymore. But curious about that Gen 5 Glock trigger with Apex. I just haven't seen that before. Ranger 10 says I'll stick with 125 supers and 200 for subs with my 300 Blackout. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you've got a round that, you know, like your super round, and say whatever it is, you know, if it's tap or whatever, you know, the 110 grain, and then you have a standard 200 grain that you use, you know, if you've got those two rounds, you could sight it in for, you know, your supers, and then sight it in, and you'll know exactly pretty much where it's going to hit, pretty close, and just stock up on those two ammos, those 2 grains of ammo, and brand, and you're, you know, you've kind of got it. But if you start buying a bunch of this and a bunch of that and a bunch of this brand and a bunch of this grain, you know, that's where it's really going to vary a lot. And yeah, you like 125. I've got 124 and 110. I don't like 150 at all. I don't like anything 150 grain. And then I've got 200 and 220 for my supers, or excuse me, for my subs. Is CZ ever going to release the updated P10? Not that I'm wanting it or waiting for it, but I know, Pistol Pete, I'm like, damn, come on, you know, because that might be another one I buy. Thanks, DB. I appreciate you, buddy. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about that one. It's just, I don't know when it's ever going to come. I'm sure Colt screwed it up, or screwed up the release date. Armsman says, doesn't Apex make Glock triggers? I don't prefer them on the Glock, but I thought I had one years ago and got rid of it. Yeah, I mean, I have them. I have Apex, the older Apex, on both of my Glocks, the 17L and the 19X, and they're not super, super light, but I mean, I actually like them way better than the stock trigger. But they were saying, I mean, looking at that trigger in that picture, it was thicker or wider, and it looked like it had a different angle to it. So I don't know if maybe they've just done some milling on it and it's really the same trigger. I don't know. That's why I was asking if anybody had any experience from it. You know, I did not know. So. Colt is the Ferrari of firearms. Scribble wet dream, yeah. No, they are. Greetings from Lake. Is that Backhall? Well, greetings. Probably messed up that name. Not sure where that is. But we are at 7:52. We got 28 people on and 26 thumbs up. I appreciate that very much. Bacall. Okay, so I did say it right. Yeah, Pistol Pete says CZ was on fire for so long. Such a damn shame. Yeah, they were on fire when they were CZ. Now they're Colt / CZ. Wish they wouldn't have done that. I don't know if y'all heard the news also. Supposedly, Vista Outdoors recently sold, so that's CCI, Spear, they sold all their ammo factories. There's 4 U.S. ammo factories, and they sold it to a Czech billionaire who is 30 years old, and I think he has a place out of Wyoming, and supposedly he bought Vista Outdoors, their ammo facilities, and 4 of them. So I'm like, So, you know, hopefully they're going to keep making it and have it readily available and all that other stuff. But I didn't know if y'all had heard that. I guess it just happened somewhat recently. I don't know how recently. I heard it was rumors and all this other stuff. But supposedly it happened. And maybe I'm late to the party. Lynn Holt says, just looked and it does look wider. Add a color for $5 more. Okay, yeah, because it does look wider, and I'm like, I wonder if they changed anything internally. That's what I was wondering. Texas Carnage, a fellow Texan. Yes, sir, welcome. Who is a Texan? Of course I am. Yeah, that happened recently. Okay. Yeah, Pranic is. Good evening. But we are at 7:54. If anybody has any questions or concerns or comments, I would love to hear them. Dallas. I was born in Dallas. Don't live there currently, but that's where I was born. But yeah, a hospital that's no longer even there. I'm older. But yeah, I'm excited about, getting the EPL or ELP or whatever from Cloud Defense whenever I've already pre-ordered it, paid for it. But man, they're not going to ship it out for a while. They're talking about the summer of this year. So, I mean, I'm sorry, August of this year. And I'm like, damn. So, August or September. So, I'm like, damn. Carnage was born in Fort Worth. Awesome. Yeah, Carnage. That's exactly the hospital, man. You're good. Yep, St. Paul. That's where I was born. Yeah, you know your stuff, brother. That's awesome. Rich B says, on a different note, thoughts on the Honda Ridgeline? Nope. Unibody construction. Hard pass. No. And I know people who have them and they like them. But if you want a truck, a true truck, that's not the one to buy. But, I mean, you'll get decent fuel mileage. You can haul light stuff in it. I mean, it's kind of like a little sport utility. I'm not saying they're horrible. It's a Honda. But, I don't consider it a truck, but I'm a truck guy. Said I've been back and forth with the LC carbine and 10mm. Can't make up my mind. There you go. Yeah. Texas Carnage said Ridgeline is not a truck. I agree. Like I said, I'm not hating on anybody that has one because actually I know someone who does, but Clyde says, so Big J, would you just stick with 45 and play with loads or explore 10mm? Clyde, if like I said, it's not up to me. I'm not saying 10mm is bad. I mean, 10mm is a great round. It's just, do you want to be vested in 45 and 10mm? And if you do, that's cool. But when I buy ammo, it's not one or two boxes. It's cases and cases and cases. So I don't want to be heavily, because I've been the 10mm route. Remember, it's been out since 1986 or 85. So I've had 2 or 3 10mm back in the day. And I mean, they're great. It's a great round. It is not a bad round at all. I mean, it's a great round. But I enjoyed 45 more, and I was more heavily invested in 45 at that time. I probably had 6 or 7 45s. So, and then I shot both of them, and I'm like, and then of course the 40 craze. Everybody had to have 40s. I had 40s. Dumped all the 40s, and then got rid of the 10s because I'm a 45 guy, and that's just a me thing. People who love 10mm, they love 10mm. So I don't really want to tell you what to do. I would just say try it, see what you think about it first. And if it's something you enjoy, by all means, jump into it. There's nothing wrong with it. Brian says, what's wrong with a unibody? If you take it seriously off-road, you will crack unibodies. They're just not made for... They're not made for like really bad pitches or ruts or anything like that. If you're just going to drive down a dirt road, you'll be fine. But anything that is a bad plane or an off-even plane, you can crack a unibody pretty easily if you're using it as a truck, like say with a solid axle. You want it to be a solid axle suspension. That's not going to happen, and you will crack them over time. I've seen them cracked. Not Ridgelines, but I've seen other unibodies cracked. Thoughts on the Chevy Sprint? I mean, it's It's not for me, but you know, if that's what you're into, then that's what you're into. I think you should stay with the Chevy Chevette, though, Pistol Pete. You don't want to mess up your thing you got going. I gotta take 2 drinks. I got some extra drink tonight. Um, what happened to Brian's comment? It said it's retract. Oh, I guess he took it down. Um, you know, I've just always considered a truck. Um, you know, and there's nothing wrong with unibodies. I just can't compare them as a truck for the weight, the towing capacity. I have also seen people over pull with a unibody, which they shouldn't have, and I've seen the frames actually break or bend, and you don't need that happening. But if you just buy it and you just use it occasionally, or it's a city vehicle, you're going to be fine with it. I mean, you're going to be really fine with it. Ranger 10 says, I want a Tesla truck but can't afford it. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't really personally, I wouldn't trust that to haul a lot of weight. I know they say it can, but if you watch the Whistling Diesel, he pretty much tore the shit out of that thing, but he tears up everything. Texas Carnage says, no, Fort Worth is a true Texas city. Dallas is a mini California. You're exactly right, Texas Carnage. Yeah. Fort Worth is a true Texas city. That's just like Austin. I don't consider it a true Texas city. Not like it used to be back in the day. And the same with Dallas. I do not consider it. I don't claim it. Yeah, as far as the electric trucks, you know, I mean, there's a few out there that don't look all that bad. I'm not impressed with the look of the Cybertruck personally. Um, you know, the Rivian doesn't look bad. The Silverado has, I think, one of the highest, um, you know, per charge, whatever miles per charge. And it looks okay. The Ford, I like the Chevy better than the Ford, and I'm not even you know, I don't really have a dog in either one of those fights. And I'm rocking a Texas Gun Experience shirt. I don't know if you can see that the camo is Little Texas's. Let's see here. Catch back up. Pistol Pete says, appreciate the work Elon's done. Yeah, I do too. He has been all up in that. Brian says, Big J is your current employer. Been cool with not seeing customers in surgery. Yeah, I've just been handling everything from home and emailing and stuff like that. But yeah, they've been cool with it. Cybertruck, Harry says Cybertruck is an attention getter and fun to ride in. It'll be a fun third, eighth vehicle if you want a toy. Yeah. Pranic says, I live in the burbs, haven't been to Dallas in years. Yeah. The only time I'm going to Dallas is if I'm driving through it to go to Houston or, you know, something like that. But I don't really spend a bunch of time there. I mean, I have customers who are there, but well, finish the whiskey. Now we'll start on the water. Got an orange. Wife bought me an orange Stanley. So now I've got 2 orange Stanleys, just different orange. Yeah, Harry's Holster says, don't let Big J fool you. He's got an orange Cybertruck on order. No. Yeah, that's true, Armsman. That's true. I don't really think it's happening so much, you know, I think it's happening in more of the blue areas, you might say, but it could happen anywhere. You know, there's weirdos everywhere, so who knows? Ooh, I haven't seen that. A red and black Cybertruck. Ooh. I saw a camo one. It was wrapped. This was a while back, and I know that one of the guys on a video had his done, but I saw one locally that was camo wrapped. You know, it looked okay. Go drive around the parking lot and then go to the range, shoot your carry gun, and go back home. Yeah, I want to start shooting for sure. But it is 8:05. We've got 28 people in, 28 thumbs up. Look at that, even Steven. Oh, the one you saw was wrapped. Yeah, I think that's what most people are doing because it would be stupid to paint the stainless steel. But I say if you want an electric car, get an electric car. That's completely up to you. But I personally have no reason to have one. You know, as much driving as I normally did, and will be back to once I'm driving. Yeah, I don't want to be sitting at a station for 45 minutes or even 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. So, but we will go ahead and shut this one down. But if y'all need anything or want to leave a comment afterwards or you think of something later, please do. Like I've been saying, reach out to people. If you haven't talked to them in a while, check on them, make sure they're good to go. And, you know, reach out to people, tell them you love them if you hadn't talked to them in a long time. But always a good time to do this. And we will do it again next Wednesday. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all were the ones that make this happen. And hopefully, we can get some range footage and stuff like that. You know, what I'll do is I might even the first time go back, throw up a camera and say, here's how, you know, these are the first shots after 3 months of not shooting and see how I do. I could completely suck or I could be fine. So I'm really curious to see if I'm really rusty or, you know, whatever. So I'll probably throw up a first shots video because I'm curious too. So, yeah, we will continue to do that, Lynn. I really appreciate you, buddy. But thank y'all so much, and we will do this next Wednesday. So remember, an unarmed nation's a very weak nation, so we all got to carry on. Thanks, everyone. Y'all take care and have a wonderful night.